Hello, Bible readers. It is Friday, May 28th. We're reading Ezekiel 36 to 39 and the whole epistle, the whole book of Jude, all in one day. It's amazing. 25 verses. So Ezekiel, God will redeem Israel for God's sake. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Viewed from a theological perspective, my commentary says, Ezekiel 36, 16 to 38 is one of the most important passages in the entire book. Many a modern reader may find the text unsettling, if not distasteful. The analogy between Israel's defiling impurity and a woman's menstrual flow imbues the latter, a natural bodily function, essential to procreation, with negative connotations. The portrait of an enraged deity pouring out wrath upon a people, ripping the survivors of Nebuchadnezzar's siege and assault from their homeland, scattering them among their conquerors, is troubling, even terrifying. Having apparently failed to anticipate the consequence of deportation for the divine reputation, that same God resolves to reverse the situation. The plan of restoration involves regathering the people, returning them to their homeland, purifying them, making their land fruitful again, rebuilding their cities, such that the mocking taunts of neighboring nations are replaced by awestruck acknowledgement of what God has accomplished. All of this will be done not for the sake of the people themselves, but for the glory of their God. The statement, "It is not for your sake, O house of Israel, that I am about to act," does not rule out the possibility that God cares about Israel. Good. Indeed, Ezekiel elsewhere suggests that God cares deeply about the people. But here, no such divine sentiment is permitted. The people will benefit greatly from God's acts, but their response should be, and will be, self-loathing, a state of mind that moderns know can inflict extreme psychological and physiological injury. So this idea, it almost paints a picture of like I guess if you're cynical or think of it in a bad way, it's like a self-absorbed God who's only out to serve God's self, and that God is served best by punishing these people who are giving God a bad name. I mean, that's really the picture Ezekiel paints here, is that you've been such consistent sinners, representing your God in such a terrible way that, you know what, God's just going to look out for God's self for a little bit and put things the way they should be. And then we get to chapter 37. So 36 is kind of tough, but 37, then we get to, and I like this, it's not a vision of God, but it's God's vision. It's the vision of the dry bones, the third of Ezekiel's 4 visions. And so when we talk about this being God's vision, Ezekiel's fellow deportees are lamenting that they're as good as dead. Their hope has perished, and without hope they might as well be dead. The future seems as barren as the past years and present experience of exile. Ezekiel himself has repeatedly insisted that their suffering is God's just punishment. Surely, in the light of Judah's collapse, good news was for many hard to hear, maybe even impossible to envision. And then it says, "I can't believe my eyes," we might say, when we have witnessed an utterly unanticipated event take place. But we can believe God's eyes. And looking through them, we can glimpse unimagined reasons to keep on hoping through the desert and through all darkness, and believe that the promised land is, in fact, near. I think that chapter 37, following up on chapter 36, makes a lot of sense, to make it so desolate and then bring about so much hope that life can come from these dry bones. And then chapters 38 and 39, the final battle, God defeats Gog and his hordes, chief prince of Meshech Tubal. There is no historical reference point for what Gog and his hordes is all about. So over the centuries, Gog has been associated with Ethiopians, Goths, Muslims, Mongols, Stalin, Hitler, and lots of others. And so that's If you're wondering who's this Gog character, we don't know. And so it's representative of all sorts of things. So interesting part of Ezekiel here today. I will say more. I thought I was going to get to Jude. I'm not. I'll say more about that tomorrow or Monday. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.